Belongs Toys. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Generation Select's Seacons Turtler, aka SnapTrap. If you saw my review of Golf/Scalor yesterday, you know that Takara Tomy is doing some Seacons out of, I want to say, mostly like past Combiner Wars molds of the aerial bots. That seems to be what they usually go back to when it comes time to remold and retool things. I think this guy, I don't know, this guy might actually be Hunger, but I believe Hunger was remolded from Silverbolt. So I think it always just comes down to Silverbolt. So let's go ahead, we'll take this out of the mailer so we can check out the box. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think you can tell from the feet down here that it's Silverbolt. The Silverbolt mold has been retooled and remolded into so many different characters. It's kind of ridiculous at this point, but I'm just really excited to get these Seacons. So this is a little slip cover that we now take off. So many layers to this thing. And then here, Transformers Generation Selects, really nice Decepticon symbol there. And if we go ahead and pop this open, there is our beautiful turtle boy. Very excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and lift the tray out of here. So here's the good stuff. You can see he's got the two giant foot pieces down here. He's got this chest piece, really nice chrome. He's got a gun, he's got a sword, and then there is the turtle. You can see him. So I'm really pumped for these. I'm going to go ahead and free him from this plastic tray, and then we'll take a closer look. So here's everything you get in the box. Obviously he has a ton of accessories, but real quick I just wanted to show you, this is how he comes in the box, kind of laying out flat. All you have to do is rotate these little tiny legs in the front down, and then rotate these, and you kind of have to unpeg them, because they're kind of pegged in there, and you'll see why later on. And then now he is in his turtle mode, but you take this big chest plate piece, and really nice chrome, by the way. Gonna fold these down around, and you'll see when they are meant to stop, because there's kind of a little nub right here, and that's gonna hit into that, and that's kind of how you know when to stop rotating these around. If you keep pushing it, you can kind of force it if you want it to sit more flush, but I don't think you're supposed to do that. And again, really nice paint applications, Decepticon symbol, a little bit of silver all around. Really nice. You're going to take this, and this peg right here is going to peg in here, and then like this bigger peg is going to peg in there. So you just drop this on top, and that kind of completes the turtle shell. So there is the full turtle mode. Now you can see he has some crazy accessories. He's got this massive gun, and I'm assuming because this is supposed to be a gun for King Poseidon / Piranacon, the combined mode. So he can wield it though. He can definitely hold it, but it's just kind of massive. He's got this really nice sword as well. I like that, very nicely painted. And then he's got these two massive feet. I mean, these things are absolutely huge. They do have that nice tilting feature, which I think makes them really a lot nicer than the feet that we got throughout most of Combiner Wars. I mean, just to show you real quick, this is a piece that came with Golf that's supposed to be used for a hand. And even though this is souped up, like, they used to try to use these as feet, and it's just not that great. What they do now is if you want to peg this into the back as a heel, and then I don't really see any way that guy could fall over with a foot and a heel that big. And then you can still get the ankle tilt from this piece here, so that's really nice. But in any case, if you would like, you can actually take these and rotate these pieces in like this. So do that for both of them. And then take the giant gun and peg that in here in the middle, like so. And you can't push it super all the way in because this piece does kind of butt up against there, but then you can peg these in here if you want to give him like all of his accessories in a giant backpack. It looks kind of ridiculous, but you can do it. And you can actually store the sword underneath. So you can plug that in right here. So if you are very much dead set on having him have all of his accessories attached at once, you certainly can. I will admit that the legs are a little dinky and kind of look ridiculous, especially in the front. But I think overall it works. I think having all the accessories attached is kind of goofy, but it can be done. I'm going to go ahead and take these off. The sword underneath isn't bad, but I'm going to remove that as well. So we can just take a look at the true turtle mode. I mean, like I said, you can tell that this is the Silverbolt mold because this piece looks pretty much the same. The arms back here look pretty much the same, but I think it works. I mean, for taking an existing mold and heavily retooling it, they did a nice job. I like the turtle head. The mouth does open. He's got razor sharp teeth. Nice yellow painted eyes there. Even the inside of his mouth is painted, which is a really nice touch. This can move. You do have kind of a ball joint down here as well, but you're probably not going to get too much articulation from the front feet. And then the back feet really, I mean, these are articulation points later on for the robot mode, but I guess in the turtle mode you can, well, because it kind of butts into that, you kind of can't move that around all that much. But you could spin this, you could move this. But I mean, honestly, you're really just going to have him be a turtle like this. He doesn't really need a ton of articulation. But I think it actually looks pretty good. I really do. For taking the Silverbolt mold and making it into a turtle, I think this is probably the best that they could have done. And it really doesn't, like if you look, people who are in the know, or I should say people who are used to the Silverbolt mold, can look at parts of him and realize that's what it is, but otherwise I think they disguised it pretty well. I'm actually surprised how well it works. Okay, transformation into robot mode. We're going to go ahead, I'm going to remove this piece, unpeg that, and leave everything else down the way it was. You can actually remove these as well. Now you can see that this piece flips out and you can move these around. That's going to come into play a little bit more later on, but just so you know that that is possible. Sometimes it's easier to kind of pull it out and then remove the gun and then push it back down, I find. But you're going to go ahead, take all those off, put them off to the side. Going to come to this section here. You can take this, you'll see that there is a peg here. There is a tiny peg hole on the bottom of the jaw of the turtle. So you're going to bring that down and that'll peg into place. This is actually pretty cool. So you're going to take this away because these two pegs were pegged into here and here. And then you're going to move this. You can see that there is a peg here on the inside of the foot, and that's going to peg in there. So this is going to go in, peg in there, like that, and kind of make like a chest plate. Then you're going to take this, you're going to spin it 180 degrees, and then you're going to push it back up, and that's going to peg in back there like that. At this point, you can just kind of push these straight up just to kind of get them out of the way. We'll come back to them later on. Coming around to this side, these two pieces here will break apart, which is a little easier said than done, but there you go. So flip those open. This is going to swing down like this. At this point, you can actually pop these feet forward like so, and then this can actually fold over and peg in like that. You're going to want to do the same thing over here. I feel like it's a little different to get the feet to pop out, but just be a little careful with them. Then you're going to just straighten this out, and you can see the legs taking shape like so. Then we're going to zoom out, and I'm going to pan the camera up slightly. At this point, you can kind of spin this around like so, spin this around, and then the turtle feet will just flip around to the back, and then you can kind of bend at the elbow, and then you'll see you have your arm. Do the same thing over here. Some of the ratchets sound really good, but like almost to the point that I think I'm breaking them because they sound so tight. but I think they're going to be okay. At this point, you're going to flip this down, which will give you your first look at the King Poseidon head. You're going to flip this part down, and then you're also going to flip this part down. So you kind of have layers you have to peel back. But then you're going to get the head for Turtler. You're going to spin that around 180. And then you just want to make sure that the little tab on the back of this will go into here. So when you close this back up, make sure that that all tabs into place. And then you can kind of close that back up and then put this back where that goes, and that pegs into place. And there you go. So you can see you have pretty much the robot mode, but you're going to bring some of these pieces back in. These are going to peg in right here, like so. And that kind of completes the look. Oh, I forgot, these actually should be pushed down. You can see that the barrels of the gun can extend out, which is mostly for the combined mode later on. I forgot to push them back in, but they can. If you want to leave them out, you certainly can. There's nothing to stop you from doing so. But there is your robot mode for Turtler. I'm trying to get him to... He's got heels, but they're not super great. I guess he'll be okay. We'll just try to make him a little bit more front heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the sword. And if you want to give him the crazy massive gun as well, we can do that. There we go. So as you can see, that thing is huge. The sword's pretty cool. And that makes him a little bit more front heavy, which is good because then he won't fall backwards on those minuscule heels. I think the robot mode looks really cool. I like it a lot. I mean, like I said, you can definitely tell it's the Silverbolt mode. Got a Silverbolt mold. That is a tongue twister. Try to say that 5 times fast. You can tell it's the Silverbolt mold, when you, especially when you look at the legs and the arms. But otherwise, I mean, the torso, very different as far as the chest plate goes. Head looks really good. See if we can get a close-up look at that head design. I like that a lot. I think that looks really cool. Very nicely painted silver face with the yellow eyes. Decepticon symbol there on the chest plate looks really good. So I think they did a really nice job with that. I like the guns mounted on the back. I think that looks really cool. I love the accessories. The sword and the gun look fantastic. I feel like the feet are a little cheesy, but I think they'll be okay. Articulation wise, head can spin from side to side, a little bit up and down, so there's a ball joint there. Really tight ratchet in the shoulder, but I think that makes sense because that's going to become a hip for the combined mode, so you want that to be really tight. You also have some out to the side movement. You have bicep swivel, you have elbow swivel there, which again, if you put all the way out, it locks in place. Can the wrist swivel? I'm going to say no. I think because of how it transforms, it cannot swivel. Don't really have anything in the waist either, but you do have a hip out to the side, front to back. You have a thigh swivel, kind of a double knee joint going on there, and then you have that ankle tilt. So he's got pretty decent articulation. Like I said, I love the accessories. If you want to get crazy, you can pop this out like I showed you earlier and flip it around and peg it back in. And then you can take these giant feet pod things and attach them to the sides of the leg. The directions show you doing that. I mean, you certainly can. It would certainly give him more firepower, but I just think that would make him look a little too busy. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and then I'm going to flip this back around. You can also take this giant thing, and if you want to peg it on like as a shield on the side of his arm, you could do that as well. Again, I think it looks a little goofy, so I'm going to take it off. But I like the robot mode. I think it's really cool. Like I said, I just wish his heels were a little sturdier. Once you can get him to stand, it's not a problem. And just for fun, here is Gulf / Scalor from yesterday. So the team is coming along, looking very cool. But next up, I will show you the torso mode. Whereas all the other limbs have an arm mode, a leg mode, and a gun mode, he just has a torso. So I'm going to transform him back into turtle mode, because that's how the directions show you taking him from turtle into torso, which I think works the easiest. So I'm going to change him back into turtle mode real quick. Okay, so we're going to be going from the turtle mode. I've gone ahead and put the sword and gun and feet pieces all off to the side, because you don't need any of them to get into the torso mode. So first thing you can do, very simple, straighten those legs all the way out, because you know they're going to come into play later. You can lift this up and actually bring all of this around like so. So lift this up, bring this around like that, and you're going to see that that's where you would connect your Combiner Wars ports to make the legs. So that's going to come into play a little bit later on. At this point, you're going to go ahead and, like usual, peg the turtle head down. You're going to unpeg the feet, bring them around, peg them in just like you're forming the chest plate for robot mode. So bring this in, peg that in. Then you're just going to leave this here for now. You're going to come down here, and this is actually kind of neat. So do not unpeg these, just pull them out by that piece, flip it around, and push it back in. Flip it out, bring it around, push it back in. Now you're actually going to open up these two pieces again. Okay. You don't actually have to unpeg this. You're going to rotate this whole thing up. You're going to see that that's going to open up the King Poseidon head. Bring this down. Now at this point you can bring this up, and you can see how there's a tiny groove right there. This black tab is going to fit into the groove. So this will not go all the way back in against. Like you might think, oh, I'm supposed to peg it into these. No, you're not. You just bring this up. This will come down, and it will peg into that spot right there. Boom. Now you're going to close this back up. Just like so. This is going to come up, rotate up like this. And then you have a little peg right there, and they're going to go into here and here. So this whole thing's just going to come up. And you want to make sure that it's all the way, this joint is pushed all the way in. Otherwise, you're never going to peg these in. So then you're just going to rotate these out like so. And then you're going to... It's a little difficult to get these pegged in, but to be honest, you don't need them super pegged in. As long as you have this pushed in flat, it'll pretty much stay where it's supposed to. So while, you know, my natural inclination is to push that in as far as I can, as long as this is pegged in, you're pretty good to go. And then that is pretty much it for the torso mode. You can come around to the back and extend these out like I showed you earlier. And they're a little difficult, but if you just pull, you can get that to go. So I like to you can really, if you want to be crazy and put these like all the way out here, you know, you can play with these as much as you want. Just find the angle that you like the best. I kind of like it to be just a little bit so that you can not like 100% at the same angle as the gun, because I want to be able to see the guns a little bit. So I kind of like it something like that. But yeah, this is going to be where you connect your arm pieces. This is where you're going to connect your feet pieces, leg pieces. You're pretty much good to go. You're going to have your giant feet pieces. And they're going to go down there. You're going to have your giant gun, your giant sword. Should be pretty cool. But yeah, I really like the look of this. I think the... Oh, I'm sorry. You can actually fold these out a little bit. So they're naturally pushed against the head. You can fold them out a little bit just to kind of give them those kind of gills or fins or whatever you want to call them on the side. But yeah, it looks great. The head looks great. Very nicely painted and detailed. The chest plate looks great. The chrome looks great. The gun's on the back. He doesn't really have a ton of kibble all around, which is awesome. I mean, this is the most of the kibble he has. Just the hands that kind of sit up there. But I'll be honest with you, every version of this mold, every Silverbolt reiteration, all the different things that he's been, they've always just had the hands hang off the back. It doesn't seem like there's anything else they can do with them. Everything else is really nice and tight up here, clean, looks good. I'm really happy with this torso. So I'm really loving these Seacons. I think Takara Tomi's doing a great job updating these characters. I'm trying to think offhand. I don't think we've seen updated versions of the Seacons since G1, right? Maybe they've reused some of the names just to keep licenses and such, but I think for the most part, this is the first time these characters are getting an update, and I think it's sorely overdue, and I think they're actually doing a really good job. I'm really happy because as a huge Master Force fan, these guys are featured very prominently in Master Force, so anything to bolster my Master Force team and roster is definitely appreciated. I can't wait till I have a full King Poseidon and I can have it face off against you know, our Power Master Jinrai that we got, or even with God Bomber that we got earlier, I guess last year, something like that. In any case, it's been a minute, but Titan's Return seems like not that long ago, but at the same time, really long ago. It's weird. In any case, I have a God Jinrai that I can have battle King Poseidon, and I'm super excited about that. So, great figure, great articulation, great paint, great accessories, a fantastic redo / retool, remold, whatever you want to call it, of this same Silverbolt mold that we've gotten since Combiner Wars, which that was definitely a long time ago. But it's been a minute since you know, we've had a new SnapTrap / Turtler, and I'm really excited to have this one in my collection. So if you ordered at Hasbro Pulse, they might have filled some of those orders, but they also may have delayed it. I'm not 100% sure how that worked out. I got mine from TF Source, so definitely check over there if you're looking for these. My original plan was to buy them from Big Bad Toy Store, but I don't think they ever got any, so that's kind of a bummer. So if you can track these guys down, I highly recommend picking them up because I'm really impressed so far, and I can't wait for the other 4. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.